Welcome back to Singapore Tonight, and thanks for staying with us. Nick Vujicic was born with tetra-amelia syndrome, a rare disorder that left him with no arms and legs, but he has turned his physical disability into a message of hope for people around the world, touching the lives of many through motivational speeches and books.
That's right, and he is in Singapore to talk about his latest project. He's giving us a preview right here in the studio. Welcome to the show, Nick.
Thank you so much. Hi, Singapore. Good to be back. Love you.
Right, so, Nick, you've written books and given speeches, and now you're releasing an e-magazine.
Yes.
So why an e-magazine?
Look, with 35,000 invitations for me to speak, and I've been to 54 countries, and now being a husband and a father, I really don't want to give up on my dream on reaching the world. And so we're trying to package messages of hope and other people's inspirational stories through a free digital monthly publication of magazine that I'll be writing some articles and some informative articles, entertaining stories, and people that I meet along the way that have inspired me.
Any particular subject matter that you're going to go into? You know,
we're going to keep it as general as possible. There'll be some technological things. I actually talk about Google Glass and 3D printing later on. We have Carlos Slim Jr., who's taken over the largest empire in the world, the Slim family. And so he's on the front cover. And then Novak Djokovic, #1 tennis player, February issue.
So how is it going to be different from, the previous mediums that you actually used before?
You know, it's very, very different. Obviously, I know that I'm not the only inspiring story out there. I've actually been inspired by many, many people around the world. And what I want people to understand is that I don't want to just be a flash in the pan. I don't want to just come to a country and say, this is my message, and then go. I want to help grow this next generation especially. It's not a youth magazine as such, but it's a cross magazine for all generations, really. I even do a kids corner, a teen article, and I just want to be able to mentor people, really, to become a life coach, something I haven't done yet.
Okay, so you have given motivational speeches, of course, Nick. You're well known for that all over the world. What strikes you most, perhaps, about the audience's reaction?
You know, the very big reason as to why I'm now a speaker is because a teenager who saw me from the crowd just couldn't stop crying. She came up. It was one of my first speeches. I was very nervous. My palms were sweaty. My knees were shaking. And she just came up and she gave me a hug. She said, I'm so sorry to interrupt. I just needed to tell you that no one's ever told me that they love me. No one's ever told me that I'm beautiful the way that I am. And these simple truths and principles and values that this next generation really needs to hear is something that changes people's lives. And so if I can impart some hope, some inspiration, some extra fire and strength to live life to the fullest, I want them to know that if I can live a life without limits, then so can they.
Very inspirational. Now, Nick, you visited Singapore, obviously, previously, like you mentioned just now.
I think 12 times now. I love Singapore.
Only 12.
And happy birthday, Singapore, for next year.
Giving us one in advance.
Yeah.
Now, so what do you think, about how we in Singapore could do better for people with disabilities? You
know, out of all the countries I've been to, Singapore is definitely advanced on the scale of things from extremes. I really have seen some amazing things with social entrepreneurship and really integration of people with special needs. So I know that there's always improvement to be made upon, but I actually feel like we should really look at the disabilities of the heart. You know, when I was here two years ago in Singapore, I was burdened for even the older citizens of Singapore, feeling like they're a burden and really wanting to engage the seniors again, to feel like they have purpose. And so what I want to do is also inspire the young people, not just to be around people with disabilities, but really engage and cross over the generations, because we all need love. We all need to be reminded that we're still here for a reason. So
that's right.
We have disabilities of the heart that we all need to overcome, and together, we can.
Reinforcing those universal values, right, Nick?
That's correct.
Right, so you know, on the other side of the scale, you mentioned the older folk, the younger ones. There's a very special younger one in your life. You mentioned you're a dad, and you're a dad now of a 2-year-old. How has fatherhood actually changed you?
Look, it's absolutely changed.
How much time do you have?
Oh my goodness, I could write a whole book about it. Me and my wife, we just finished writing a book called Love Without Limits, and we talk about my son. He's 22 months old. He's already my height. And, when I was a child, I was very depressed, thinking, like, even if I got married, even if I was a father, how can I hold my kids when they're crying? And he surprised me at 16 months old. He came and he gave me a hug. And how long the hug is and how often we hug, it's actually not up to me, it's up to him. So now my focus is now to be the best daddy I can be, to compel my son to want to give his daddy a hug. And so it's beautiful, it's a joy, it's a capacity of love that I never thought I ever had before.
Nick, you know, you've been an inspiration to so many, and I'm sure one day your son will feel that for you as well. But what's the one thing in your life you feel that you haven't achieved? Maybe a short answer for that one.
I really believe that this world, of course there are bad things happening, and some bad things will get worse at times. But because of technology, the world is so small that we who want to make a difference in the world for the positive really can do it. My dream, before I die, is to inspire 400 million teenagers around the world to give $1 a day to end world hunger. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. I really want to make a difference. But first, before we help those people, we need to help the teenagers understand that they're here for a reason, a greater purpose, and to love themselves first before they share that love.
All right, Nick, I've got 2 teenagers at home who are going to hear that very message from you.
Excellent.
Thank you so much for coming into the studio, Nick.
Thank you.
That was Nick Vujicic.